This NASCAR Xfinity Series Championship Race betting recap edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHM.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
And welcome to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He is the Zebra. I am the Rodman, and we are here today to break down the Xfinity Series Championship race where we crowned ourselves a finally champion, somebody that's deserved it for a very, very long time. And I called this back in February that this was going to be his year. And it was.
2 for 2 for you, Rod. 14 years of trying, 14 years of frustration. Finally, Justin Allgaier can call himself a champion. And I don't know that anybody's happier about that than Dale Earnhardt Jr., Rod. Pretty excited car owner there. I don't know if you saw the video of his parents also standing on pit road there watching him win the championship. That was pretty great to see. So, yeah, man, Justin Allgaier, finally, like Denny Hamlin is watching this thinking, there's still hope for me, Rod. It can be done, but good to see him finally get one.
Yeah, score one for the old guys. I'm definitely excited about it. And like I had said earlier in the year, it's just at some point, if you punch the wall enough, one or two things are going to happen. If you're going to break your hand or you're going to break the wall. And thankfully, Justin Allgaier finally broke the wall because just a deserving enough guy.
Yeah, he broke a lot of things. This was like the Patriots coming back from 28-3, Rod. I mean, he was down and out. He was 2 laps down. It was over. They already had the Super Bowl trophy engraved with anybody else's name besides Justin Allgaier. And they probably had already dropped his championship merch in the mail to send off somewhere else to never be seen. And he TK saying managed to avoid the piano. He didn't avoid the piano. He had multiple pianos, dodged them all, and still came back to win it, which was great. And Andrew checking in saying his best bet of the weekend was cashing out on Austin Hill plus 5,000 to win. Actually, it's funny because we laugh at the cashing out thing, Rod, but Andrew did. I can't remember. Was he the one that alerted us live on the show? I think we were doing the Truck Series episode, and somebody commented in here, but then also I know Andrew was on it over in the Discord for sure. And he's like, whoa, MGM just dropped the odds. He's 50-1. It's not right. And so a couple of people bet it. Then they reopened him at 8-1. And then they gave him a cash out option. And so he had placed multiple bets on it. So he cashed one of them out and got the, already made a profit. So sometimes you catch the books sleeping on stuff like that. That's great. So shout out to him. Another reason to be in the Discord, Rod. sg.pn/discord.
Another reason to be in the live audience too, because you got in on that immediately too.
That too. And yes, it was him, he says. So yes, thank you, Andrew. That hopefully other people went with that as well. But I did want to say too, while we bring up the Discord, right? We did have a meeting this week with the bosses, wrapping up the season and everything. And they once again harped on how great the NASCAR Discord channel is, because it is consistently one of the busiest channels in the entire Discord. Which for little old NASCAR, that's the thing, Rod, right? We're we're the little what they call us, the stepchild, the redhead stepchild of sports, right? We're just a little NASCAR over here, but we're pulling above our weight in the Discord, and love seeing that. So shout out to all you guys.
Yeah, and not just the Discord too, but they do recognize that our live is one of the better ones in the industry too, and in the network for sure. So continue to join us live, continue to be with us, continue those download numbers. The show is healthy, the show is strong, and they want to see it continue on that way. So it's all thanks to you guys. And the network is strong. And if you haven't downloaded the SGPN app, you're missing out. The SGPN app gives you access to all the podcasts on the network, not just ours, but I know NASCAR is winding down, so you got to find some other outlet out there. So I know that Moonoff and Chris have a great show with the Propcast each and every week on NFL props. And then, of course, fantasy football, if that's your thing. Old-fashioned football is out there. Love Justin, love Miranda, love both of those hosts. So keep going and listening to them. And all the podcasts and the picks pages are all in one convenient place on the app. So like the content, like our app, and it's downloading it completely free. It doesn't cost you a dime. All you got to do is type in SGP into your app store and download it today. Well, Cody, the final race of the Xfinity Series season is over. And yeah, Justin Allgaier won the championship, but unfortunately he was not able to win the race. I would like to email or send a card to Leland Honeyman that says thank you for ruining this for me, because I did, I didn't have him as an outright. Allgaier is an outright, so I guess it really doesn't matter anyways. But still, he did kind of take away a few of my bets that I had with that wreck. And then not Connor Zilisch, but Parker Retzlaff in the 31 late caution kind of screwed that up too. But yeah, I mean, this was still a good race overall, Cody. There's a lot going on. And like you said, Justin Allgaier, like playing every piano that came his way and managing to finish second on the day.
Yeah, I mean, just the resiliency out of him and out of the team to have issue after issue. And it started early in the weekend, right? Somebody drops oil on the track, absolutely destroys the car. They've been prepping the car, got it ready. This was the car, right? Go to win the championship. Now you got to go to a backup car. We all know the backup cars can be good, but they're never as good as the primary car. And then, so you're already starting, behind the 8 ball, and then you have to start at the back of the field, all these other things. Then he has the speeding penalty or whatever. I don't remember what the penalty was, but then he speeds while serving the penalty. And it was a restart violation. That's what it was. So he has the restart violation, right? Getting a little antsy, trying to get those spots back. Then he speeds serving the penalty. So now he's multiple laps down. And for things to just fall correctly, and that's why you keep your head in the game, right? That's why when the score's 28-3, you still go out, play the next down. Because, sorry if there's any Falcons fans listening, I'm going to keep referencing that because one of the greatest Super Bowls ever as a Patriots fan. But it just like, that's why you keep playing, right? And that's why you keep your head in the game. Fought all the way back and ends up being the champion and well-deserved, right? He had a fast car and obviously needed a little help as far as circumstances went. But, he got it done at the end of the day and made the smart decision to not race Riley Herbst there at the end. Probably the best decision of the race. Let him go, not our battle, and just win the race. So, is that race manipulation, Rod? Was that a catch? I don't know if that was a catch or not, but he gets it done anyways.
Hey, listen, we knew he had a rocket ship when he went from the back of the field to 10th in 26 laps and then to 6th in 40 laps. It did not take him long to find his way from the back to the front. And, like you said, shout out to that whole team, because that team kept him in the race, and it kept his head in the game too, because there was probably several opportunities for him to just sort of get down and out, right? You speed or you duck below the restart and fall out of line, and now you got to come serve a penalty, and then like, oh, guess what? You sped on that penalty, and you're like, oh, for the love of God, how many more pianos do I have to dodge? And good on the crew chiefs, good on everybody else in the team to just say, it's cool, we've got this. This car is fast, and we know we can compete. Just got to get back on the lead lap, and then we'll give him hell. And, man, I tell you, they gave him hell. So congrats to Justin Allgaier. Good, clean, fast race. I think no one was going to deny him this day, because I just feel like that guy knew that he's running out of chances. In fact, didn't even say how many more opportunities am I going to get to win a championship. Yeah. So, like, this was
he's not a young spring chicken, Rod. You know a lot about that, of course. Just kidding.
No, I do.
But and he's been – so I think he's 14 full-time seasons, and I believe he's made the final Man, I have to vet this, but I think I said he's made the Final Four like 7 times. Something crazy where it's like, oh my God, he's gotten there so many times, and just every time something's gone wrong, or it hasn't fallen his way, right? And to have all these things go wrong, and he's got to be thinking, we're fucking doing this again. Like, you know how it is, Rod. You're just like, seriously, could anything else fucking go wrong? And then it does, because he speeds, and it's like, oh my God. But then to fight all the way back, it's a great story, and happy for him to finally get that championship, because look, he's one of the great all-time Xfinity Series racers, right? And we've got those guys that kind of tuck in, the Frank Kimmels of ARCA and the Matt Craftons of the Truck Series, and Allgaier is kind of one of them here. We've had other guys, right? Michael Annette's maybe to a lesser degree, and even some of the Cup Series guys that came back down, like the Sadlers, and established pretty good careers here. And back in the day, like Mark Martin was an outstanding Xfinity driver when there wasn't 5 race limits on the Cup Series guys, right? But he's really found his way in the Xfinity Series, and to finally now put that bow on top of an already great career of, okay, now I'm a champion of this sport and of this series. It's always good to see stories like that for guys like Justin.
Yeah, well, and you know what? It was a great weekend for Piano Man all around, and we'll talk about another Piano Man tomorrow. But yeah, my love for Justin Allgaier was not misplaced all season long. I know that we had the ups and the downs and the times where we bet on him and the times that we didn't bet on him, but I think overall this was a very rewarding experience for him. And I think we talked about it too when we were talking and setting the race up. Like, the other guys in this were all, I mean, you know, Custer, Allmendinger, like, yeah, okay, but like Justin Allgaier, this was one of the ones where, out of the class that he was in, had to be the one to walk away with the win, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And he got it done. So shout out to him, and shout out to Riley Herbst as well for winning the race. Obviously.
Somebody won the race too, by the way.
Yeah, it does get overlooked because, I mean, you know, the championship is obviously much more important, but Riley ran a good run, and, you know, probably going to be a full-time Cup Series guy next year. So great way to send out Stuart Haas, right? I mean, they didn't have a great day on Sunday, but wrap up the Xfinity Series program. Obviously don't win the championship with Custer, but to go out on top as far as winning the race, and that organization's still pretty much going to stay intact, but it'll be the Haas automation team, even in Xfinity next year, so it'll be a little different. But for Stuart Haas, as it is, to kind of end on a high note like that, good to see for them.
Indeed. Jessica checking in saying, good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, Jessica. We definitely missed you guys at 2:00 yesterday. Sorry about that. We had a meeting with the bosses that we couldn't shuffle around, so we had to go later, but we're back to normal time today.
Back to normal time.
Yes. So those of you guys who are able to join us, hello, and we love you all for it. So, all right, well, we will talk through the rest of that race and talk through our bets and really just kind of break everything down, as we always do on our recap shows. But before we do, I would like to take this opportunity to tell you about, like the vamp, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all of sports: NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, Formula One, and so much more. You can use specials and boosts on all of your flexed entries that you use. We're going to give you, well, we always give you our DFS picks and our Underdog Fantasy picks on our shows. And in fact, if you were with me and kind of got behind me on the Ty Gibbs worse than, you were loving life on Sunday when he did not finish better than his projected finishing position. So yeah, keep in touch with us all week long, all off season long. We'll probably sprinkle in some NFL picks here and there for you on Underdog. Sign up with our promo code in the meantime, Race SGPN. Hey, the bosses love to see that as well. If you use Race SGPN on Underdog Fantasy, they said the more signups that we can get, the better the prizes of things that we can do for you. So head over there and keep pumping our sponsors up so we can provide you with a lot more over the coming season. And you got to claim a special pick, a first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash while you do that. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code Race SGPN. All right, so we did say it was Riley Herbst that ended up winning, and not just like a fluke. That was 167 laps that he led out of 200. He dominated this race.
He was easily the best car, and so I think that was well deserved. While Allgaier, I think, had something for him on that last restart. Made a good business decision because Riley has got nothing to lose, right? He doesn't give a fuck, and his teammate is not behind you. So if you're Riley and Justin comes up there, race him hard for the win, because you can play that off as you were racing for the win, because you were, but maybe even helping your teammate in the process. So very smart on Justin to look at the big picture. Like, who gives a fuck about that win, right? Like, I think Martinsville the week before, we kind of talked differently with Chandler Smith. That's a different story. But in this case, like, this is it. You will be the champion if you just hold on to second place. And so, yeah, way to make the smart business decision there and become the champion. So props to him on that.
Indeed. All right. Well, look, I know my card was hampered by some yellows, but Cody had a pretty decent card put together because he banked on a lot of the guys that were up there in front, namely Riley Herbst, but other guys too.
Yeah, absolutely, Rod. So started off with Austin Hill over Sam Mayer. It had just become the thing as of late to fade Sam Mayer, right? We didn't get the Sheldon Creed option, which, for the record, would have cashed once again, Rod. So there is that. What happened to, oh my goodness, I lost my race results, Rod. Why did NASCAR just updated their, oh, wow. Props to them. They've got the 2025 schedule up now.
Oh, look
but
at
that doesn't help my race results from Phoenix, which I'm going to try and quickly find. Okay, here they are.
Austin Hill finished in 10th.
Anyways, Austin Hill did finish in 10th. Then Sam Mayer in 11th. So we sweated this one out a little bit. Creed, by the way, beat Mayer again, 7th to 11th. They didn't give us that option because they were scared, Rod, as they should have been. But it's still cash for us this way with Austin Hill beating Sam Mayer. Just a tough way to end for Sam Mayer. He is going to be moving on from JRM next season over to, actually, he might be in Riley's car next year. I don't know which car is going to which guy, but he is going to be with that Haas Automation Group in Xfinity next season. So that'll be another topic we'll have this offseason. Austin Hill, once again, gets it done. Hill at points maybe looked a little better than 10th place. I mean, there was a couple times where he was up there mixing it up. He got into that situation where he ran out of tires. And so they had to take 2 tires at the end instead of 4 because all he had left was 2. That definitely hurt any chance he kind of had at the end there, right? It gave him the track position coming out, but just unable to hold on with the 2 tires over the 4. So didn't quite work out for him, but it did work out for him in this head-to-head with Austin Hill cashing over Sam Mayer.
Yeah, and they were 2 scuffs too. They weren't even 2 sticker tires. They were 2 scuffs. So he came out in front, but you can't hold off a field of 4 tires with 2 scuffs. It's just
2 scuffs. Yeah. That was pretty tough. But he looked good throughout the day and definitely had his bright moments.
You know who else had bright moments? That 88 car of Connor Zilic. Woo, Connor Zilic, 4th place finish for the rookie, man. We are going
to good. He's good, Rob.
Yeah, listen, this guy, and it was a deserving 4th place too. This wasn't even like a fluke 4th place. He drove his way up from 21st to 4th. So JRM representing, my friend, 2nd and 3rd for JRM and Justin Allgaier. I'm 2nd and 4th rather, Justin Allgaier and Connor Zilic. But he did finish better than his teammate, Brandon Jones, who we said will be riding off into the sunset. Brandon Jones, 18th place on the day, and honestly, nowhere to be seen for the entire day. He started 33rd, finished 18th. There was, we said it too. We said this was it for him, and he could either go out on a high note or just go out, and he just went out. Where Connor Zilic was hungry enough to go, and
he raced like the rest of his entire JRM time. I'll be very glad to see him back at JGR now.
I think he's going to be very.
I'm going to be so heavy on the Brandon Jones. I'm just going to prepare you all now. Going to be heavy on the Brandon Jones train next for sure. But yeah, this was a great call by you. Speaking of great calls, Rod, Riley Herbst, top 5, 4-1. Last time I checked, top 5 is, or first place rather, is inside the top 5. Maybe should have gave his outright, obviously, as well. But Riley'd been pretty good here, so expected a good day from him. Did not expect him to lead 167 of the just over 200 laps in this race. So props to him for having a dominant day and getting it done at the end of the day. But cash is the top 5 for us at 4-1, so we'll take it.
We will take it. 4-1 for a top 5. That just, we knew better than that.
And like top 5, I mean, it wasn't even in question all day. He wasn't going to finish in the top 5. Like he was going to be in the top 5, whether he was going to win or be in the top 3 really was mostly the question. So great run by Herbst, and I'll be interested to see him in the Haas Automation Fords next season. So I think that that's going to be a pretty solid team like it has been. I think that's going to have and him and Creed being teammates will be interesting. Or wait, no, he's leaving. What am I thinking of? Gosh, never mind. Just forget about all that, right? He's going to the Cup Series next year.
I was going to say, I'll just edit all this out, which means I won't edit it out.
No. Pretend you didn't hear any of that. Sorry. It's the off season. They got that brain fog going on.
I know. Well, yeah, it's the championship fog. It's all that burnt rubber that we're smelling right now. So, but yeah, I mean, look, it almost feels like we should have taken the car lift on Herps, but was not necessarily. I mean, the best way to get in was the top 5, just in case something happened, and the championship 4 all finished up there. Which, by the way, I mean, when we talked about the Cup Series yesterday, we talked about all of the championship guys being within the top 5. That was not the case in the Xfinity Series. You had Justin Allgaier in second. You had to go all the way down to 8th place for Cole Custer, 9th place for AJ Allmendinger, and 10th place.
3 of the 4 were all together.
But in the top 10 and not even in the top 5. So
yet.
it was crazy. But
TK keeping me in line, by the way. Mayer and Creed is the Haas lineup next year, which I already said earlier in the show and then somehow forgot.
We're tossing out a lot of names, man. Sometimes my kids know that if I call one name, then the other one needs to come. So, and I only have 2. So that's where we're at.
There you go. Yep.
All right. God damn it. One more time.
Oh, dude. It happened again, Rod.
Again, just like it did in the Cup Series. I took Jesse Love as a top 5 car. Jesse Love leads the field to the green from the outside on lap 212 in overtime. And then by lap 213, he is in 4th or 6th place, right outside of the top.
He got driven so far up the track on that restart. It killed any chance he had, because I had going into my next bet, I had Jesse Love as the top finishing Chevy. And boy, I was like, oh, this has got a true shot here. Like we're looking good, because Hill's on the inside, but you're like, well, he's got those old tires, so you're not too worried about it. But then he just got washed up. I think it was by Riley, actually. But
it was.
Just washed so far up the track, killed any and all momentum he had, and unfortunately slipped back to 6th. But I think that your top 5 number, my top Chevy number, were both still good bets. Obviously, they didn't cash here. By the way, Rod, Rookie of the Year, Jesse Love.
Ooh.
So shout out to him for getting that done. I know SVG had a pretty impressive season, but Love was able to beat him for Rookie of the Year. And so I think that really goes to show you how talented and how good of a season Love had. I have a feeling, Rod, we're going to be talking a lot about Love in 2025.
Oh, we're going to love a lot in 2025. Because again, look at he jumped out to the lead too, lap 206 before that caution with Parker Retzlaff. So we were looking really good for Love to get into the top 3, top 5 even. So, but Parker Retzlaff kind of ruined that for us after 6 laps of racing. So, so frustrating. But I mean, look, if he's able to get up and lead this race, we need to keep an eye on him for next year, and whatever his championship odds are.
Yeah, and to look that good in this race as a non-championship 4 guy, for being a guy that made the round of 8 and wasn't far from getting into this round next season. I haven't seen Xfinity championship odds just yet, but he'll definitely be one to keep an eye where they have his number at, and maybe they're sleeping on him a little bit.
I concur. I'm not going to be sleeping on Sheldon Creed anymore. Because I'm not probably going to say his name much next season. I just don't feel like anytime, what was it yesterday that we said, anytime that I bet on somebody, he goes out and he does well. And then when I don't, then he does, he goes out and he does.
Yeah. Ross Chastain yesterday.
Yeah. So Chastain, I got Chastained on this one. I thought Sheldon Creed was going to be good. And look, Sheldon Creed starts on the outside pole and you think to yourself, oh man, Sheldon Creed's got some speed in this one. We're going to be good. We're going to cash this top 3 bet, as he's done several times over in his career. And then he goes and finds a way to Sheldon Creed it up, and he finishes in 7th place, which again is not a bad finish, but it's definitely not a top 3 finish, which we thought it was going to be. So, I mean, he wasn't really a top 3 car over the course of the day either. He was just there. Like, I thought he would be mixing it up with the leaders. He kind of does at points and then falls back again. He just didn't have. He was 3rd in on lap 163. So he was out there after the caution. He was running in 3rd place along with Love and Herbst and Allmendinger and Custer and all that other stuff. But then he just keeps getting passed. Like he just passed, and
it never felt like he was really a top 3 guy. So a bit of a disappointing end to the Sheldon Creed season. Speaking of disappointing ends, Rod, Ryan Sieg, top 5 at 12-1. Just his numbers at Phoenix had not been good, and I mentioned that on the pick show. It just the momentum he had lately and how good they've been running, you thought maybe you'd see something. We didn't see anything, Rod. He finishes his 23rd, and this never had a shot all day long. So swing and a miss. I mean, a 12-1 for everything he'd been able to accomplish this season. I don't think that was necessarily a bad direction to go, but it really was dead on arrival once the green flag flew.
Well, and I have a feeling that, again, just like Love, just like a couple of the other guys in Zilich for sure, we're going to be saying Sieg's name a lot again next year because he's going to be in contention to be one of the better cars each and every week. And so, this wasn't a bad pick at all. It was something that had legs coming into the week. Fortunately, the weekend didn't pan out the way we wanted it to. And so, it came out. But again, next year, we're going to be saying this quite a bit. So, I like it. And I like everything that we've done so far. And we'll give you more of them when we come back. But first, I want to tell you about MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. SGPN started out back in the day. This is OG style with MyBookie. And now we are back. You can check out the new and improved website, which looks beautiful on your mobile phone, your mobile, right? What does it call that? Hold it in your hand. It looks beautiful. Just go to mybookie.ag. You'll love us for that too. Plus props for every game and live dealer casino. It's all right there at your fingertips. Even new early cash out options for those of you who bet on Austin Hill and decide you want to cash out. Do that. We love it. So we'll give you we'll keep digging into MyBookie for some of the better bets like we've been doing all year long with every other bet. So head to mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. You're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip, which, let's face it, folks, is fun. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. You can build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build a model for you. Now, you can track all of your props in the Rhythm app, which, by the way, is a lot of fun. And not only is it a lot of fun, but it definitely helps you to look at what you would like to go and build models for in the future. Got games coming up this weekend in the NFL. Thursday night football, Washington taking on Philadelphia. Man, I'm telling you, working right now on the model to figure out which side of the Saquon Barkley prop I want to be on. Which side do I want? Receiving yards or do I want rushing yards? But the Rhythm app is definitely helping me figure out where I would like to go with that. So let it help you as well. NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, and NBA. Rhythm has it all. You can claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Rod, MyBookie does have 2025 Cup Series championship odds up.
Oh,
I have an article, by the way, at sportsgamblingpodcast.com with a breakdown of all the odds. A couple of, I don't want to say leans, Rod, because that would be an inappropriate use of the word on this show. But a couple of, like if you're wanting to bet on certain guys, this is maybe the direction you want to look in. And then we're going to talk next week about championship futures. We'll use MyBookie for sure. And yeah, we'll actually give some picks out then like we did last year with guys like Joey Logano for you, Tyler Reddick for me. Obviously one of those worked out better than the other, but that's okay. Also,
Justin Allgaier for me too, by the way.
Yeah, Justin Allgaier. That's right. Quick fun story about MyBookie, Rod. That's actually how I found the Sports Gambling Podcast. They were partners at the time, and I had got, it was like earlier days of gambling and stuff, and I was getting interested in it, and so I had signed up for MyBookie, and I was looking around, and it was like, oh, listen to this podcast. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll check it out, and boom, fell in love with SGP, and here we are today, Rod, 500 and however many episodes later. So that's MyBookie actually sort of maybe even responsible for what this show is today, I guess you could say.
I love it. Hey, listen, we have a personal tie, and everybody loves those personal testimonials, right?
Exactly. I have and my bookie's a great. I mean, I've used it for years. So it's a great place to use. So, love it.
Beautiful. All right, is it your turn?
It's your turn, Rob.
My turn.
Winning manufacturer, which
up until the last corners,
sort of.
It should have been. In my opinion, it really should have been, because
Riley Herbst was the best car on the day.
Hands down. But the fact of the matter is that Justin Allgaier had the opportunity to cash this at the very end, but decided he would rather have a championship than a race win. And so he, like Cody said, made the business decision to sort of back off and manipulate the race in a way that gave Riley Herbst the win and him the championship. So we'll be expecting penalties for that. NASCAR, go ahead and take that championship away for race manipulation, fine, and all that other good stuff after that. But no, listen, honestly, and look, 2 of the top 4 cars of the day were Chevys, where a Ford won.
Jesse Love was up there. I mean, he could have easily been the guy that got it done too. So
because he was leading as well. So yeah. Yep. So yeah, there was three Chevys within striking distance of the lead, where there was 2 Toyotas and 1 Ford. So yeah, I mean, not a bad bet when you consider what was going on. So I'm not sad that I suggested it, but at the very least, I wish it would have cashed, because that would have meant Allgaier not only won the championship, but won the race, and then it'd been fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I had Eric Almirola top 3 plus 110, top 3 plus 110. It cashes. It wasn't beautiful. Almirola wasn't a top 3 car all day for the most part. He sort of snuck up there at the end with those late restarts, and it cashed for us. So I'm not gonna say that he was just top 3 all day and dominating and looked great like I thought he would. But he found a way at the end of the day to get up there and cash his ticket for us. So hey, we'll take a cash any way we can get it, Rob.
And really, it was ultimately some of these late restarts that gave him the opportunity to be able to get in there, because he wasn't anywhere near the top 3 until
he was a non-factor all day. I was extremely disappointed, because every time I look up, it's just like, where the fuck is Almirola at? And you never really saw much out of him. And then when the dust settles after, Love gets, run up the track and Hill falls back, and there's all, how the chaos is, and Phoenix restarts anyways, right? They go 9 wide down through the dog leg. And then, Almirola comes out in 3rd, and you're like, oh shit. Okay, good. That one cashed. So, it was a little bit of a sweat, but he got it done.
Indeed, yeah. He wasn't even in the top 3 at the first overtime restart.
He might not have been in the top 3 until the last lap. If we're really being honest here.
This is true for sure. But yeah, so that was that. And then I mean, the outrights, you nailed the handicap on the outrights, because you basically just said, listen, take the manufacturer and call it good, and that was the right way to go.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did say, right? I said Custer was the guy I liked at plus 320, but just take Ford at plus 305, because what if Riley Herbst wins? Well, Rod, what if Riley Herbst wins? You cashed the plus 305. So hopefully, if you had that option, you were able to take it. If you had the Custer one, sorry, because he didn't hit. Austin Hill at 15-1, Ryan Sieg at 70-1. Sieg, obviously, we talked about, never really had a shot. Hill at 15-1, you saw little bits of flashes, right? And maybe a little bit here and there. Love was the stronger. It's sort of interesting that Love was the stronger of the RCR cars. Creed was the stronger of the SHR cars, even though their teammates were the ones racing for the title. So
the Gibbs cars, you mean?
Or not Creed. Oh gosh, where was I going?
Love.
All right, let's start all this over. Love was the better. Well, see, I got onto the RCR thing, and then I sidetracked to Creed somehow. Love the better of the RCR cars. Herbst the better of the SHR cars. See, Creed's going to be in that car next year. There's a lot of math going into this, Rod. But
if you could look at Cody's brain right now, it literally looks like the.
Well, I'm already. You got to retrain. Like I got to get ready for next season, Rod. Like I got to get used to Creed being in an SHR car. So I just put him in there a little early. But Herbst, Love, they were both better than their teammates who were in the championship race, which sort of an interesting dynamic, I guess. But yeah, hopefully you took the Ford at plus 305, because that's what cashed. TK bringing up a good point too. Almirola had to go to a backup car as well. He was involved in that practice crash in addition to Allgaier, and obviously the backup not as strong as the 7 car was. By the way, that 7 car, the car that Dale Jr. caught on fire at Bristol last season. Right? I don't know if you heard that story, but that was the car, and that car was fast, right? He had a chance to win that Bristol race. And then, they brought it back, and that was the actual backup car that he raced the title to. So
that car was literally on fire.
So, yeah, it literally was on fire, and it was on fire on Saturday as well.
Love it. And then your other outrights, it just, what'd you say? Sieg at 70-1.
Hill, Sieg.
Yeah, okay.
Sieg didn't have a chance. Hill at 15-1 for a championship 4 guy. I don't think it's ever a bad thing. No matter what the circumstances are, really, just because you don't know what can happen, right? And we saw even the champion didn't win the race, so I don't regret having that.
I regret going out on a limb one last time for AJ Allmendinger. 20-1. I had him as a top Chevy as well. Look, even the broadcast was like, what's going on? Why is Allmendinger not fighting? He was the only championship 4 driver to not lead 1 lap in this race. Like, he was not in front.
Back to TK's point earlier in the chat, too, when I was talking about Love winning the Rookie of the Year over SVG, he said, I'd say it says more about RCR versus Colleague stability than driver v driver, which I think is actually a good point. I mean, Love did have a very consistent season, but obviously we saw SVG on the road courses able to dominate, 3 wins, less consistent elsewhere. Probably some mixture of he's new to ovals, really, in general sense, right? He's done some oval stuff, but not to this degree. But as well, we know these Colleague cars just aren't super great. Now, that being said, AJ was able to race his way into the championship 4 before everyone else, right? He was the first guy that locked it up back at Las Vegas, but still, Colleague doesn't quite have it like they maybe should in Xfinity.
Yeah, and really next year it doesn't really matter for us anymore because Allmendinger will be in the Cup Series, and outside of road courses, Cody, I don't even know that I feel comfortable with top 10s with him in that 16 next year. So it's going to be tough to bet on Allmendinger.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what their program looks like because it's going to be AJ in one car, but then Ty Dillon in the other car. And I love Ty Dillon. I've actually personally met him. I have a picture with him. Like, he's super nice guy, but he's not a great driver, and that car is not going to be any good. But I think that could drag down the 16 car too. It'll be interesting to kind of see Colleague, and then their Xfinity program going to look very different. Obviously, SVG moving to the Cup, AJ moving to Cup as well. So Daniel Dye is going to be jumping in. And who's the other Colleague? Oh, Christian Eckes will be an interesting case for sure. We'll have to obviously talk more about that, but he could do some damage for sure in that car.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we'll see for sure. And we'll talk all about that next year. But we'll wrap up the Xfinity Series championship race from this year just by, pats on the back all around. Some good cards outright and some good calls in the preseason.
Xfinity picks were strong for us this year, Rod. Yeah. I think we had a really, really good season as far as Xfinity picks go. And look forward to carrying that momentum into 2025 next season.
Now give us some top 10s, damn it, for 2025. In fact, I've got an email going out to my bookie right now. Give us some top 10 Xfinity and Truck Series odds. That would be.
See, my bookie, dude, and my bookie, they are a sponsor, obviously, which is great. But just like from a personal sense, I have the experience before. I don't know if you were around during COVID. Were you around SGP during COVID, Rod? I can't remember if that was.
Fun story. I started writing for SGPN or SGP in August of 2020. So that was my first.
So that was probably like right after or during maybe even the Madden Sims. Like they had lines you could go place bets on for the Sims that SGP was running. And like the guys were calling commentary for the games. So I was betting on the Sims it was, not a lot of things weren't beautiful about that time, but that was a beautiful thing, Rod. So they're definitely willing to work with you, which is great. So we're going to have to get on them about Xfinity top 10s.
Yep.
We'll have them be the trend setter.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Because That'll be the mark we leave on society. It's leave the place better than you found it, and that's what we're going after right now.
If nothing else, these guys are responsible for Xfinity top 10, so we'll take credit for it.
I'll take credit for that. All right, Cody. Well then, thank you for a successful Xfinity Series season in 2024. Very much looking forward to another successful 2025. And I mean, we've got a lot to talk about between now and then.
There's going to be plenty of Xfinity talk throughout the offseason. Obviously, a lot of driver changes as we just I stumbled over throughout this entire episode. A lot of musical seats going on in the Xfinity Series as well. So we'll have plenty of episodes to talk about that and sort of preview things. No championship odds for them just yet. We're going to be talking Cup Series championship odds next week. But Xfinity championship odds will be out soon as well. And once they're out, Rod, we're going to be talking about it because that's what we do here. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. And then we'll be back tomorrow, wrap up the Truck Series. And then, we start looking forward to next season already next week, Rod, which I'm very excited for.
Indeed. Jessica's favorite time of the year is talking trucks. So
yes.
Definitely.
Be back tomorrow, Jessica. We'll see you then.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk trucks tomorrow. So yeah, Cody, well then let's turn everybody loose to enjoy their NASCAR free weekend. But, come back tomorrow, talk trucks with us.
Yes, I'll be back tomorrow to talk trucks, Rod. F1, by the way, still going on. There's an article over on sportsgamblingpodcast.com. My early picks for the Vegas Grand Prix, which is next weekend. We'll have an episode of the F1 Gambling Podcast next week covering that as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And, back tomorrow to talk the Truck Series, Rod. In the meantime, follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. Find all of my stuff there. Follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bottom. Everything I've got going on, whether it's here. Follow my first touchdown picks over on Sportsbook Review. And, I think I'll pop in here and there on the back road with Seth and Elliot to talk about some off-season stuff. And, we'll keep current. Love you all very, very much. Thanks for hanging with us this Xfinity Series. If this is the only episode you listen to, change that, by the way. Listen to all of them. But, stick around. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow for trucks. And until then, let's go racing and let it ride.